Hey, welcome back to Ringworm. We gotta go fast. It's about to snow lots. And I think if we get too much, we're not gonna get the excavator down. Well, we'll get it down that hill. I don't know if we'll get it back up with that log we want. If you've been watching the videos here for a muy long time, you know, there's no flat ground anywhere at Ringworm. That's pretty much the only work table I've built out here on a stump. I swear it's nearly impossible to put two sawhorses down, some boards on top of it, and have it all level. So last week we actually found some lumber, a crotch that I milled up a couple years ago, and made a workbench for the back of the four-wheeler. It just lays on there and kind of locks into those two rails. As of like 3-4 weeks ago, I have this little tiny excavator out here, and I want to build another workbench that attaches bolts to the bucket so you can move the bucket around wherever you want to, drive the excavator to wherever, put the boom out, and just have the workbench exactly where you want to work. Can we help you? You want somebody to play with, huh? Oops, not warmed up enough. Sorry to be yelling over the sound of this thing, but we're in a race. We'll probably let the size of the slabs and the log dictate the size of the workbench, and then I'd love to find a freshly downed cedar tree and make some kind of shelves on the back of it. I'm picturing in my head a spot to set my like Ryobi tools and maybe a little shelf for like a whole line of batteries. As you all know, the downside of building like this, taking a log, slabbing it, and building something that's supposed to be flat, the thing is going to warp and crack. But, you know, I need an excavator workbench right now, and we're not going to waste the winter time. It's the best time to be out working. Yeah. The machine still wasn't warm enough to move yet. So we walked down here, and I don't think I can get this out of here. But you guys saw, I think it was the end of the last episode. We just tried to pick this thing up, and the bucket and the mechanical thumb on there just aren't even big enough to get a grip on it. I was thinking about putting a strap on it and just like moving it little by little up the hill here. But even if we get it up to the top, I don't think I have enough traction with the four-wheeler to drag this back to camp. And then this actually might be enough weight to break the sawhorses. Like this kind of thing I'd normally just mill at least in half right on the ground. Just like the rest of the tree from there all the way to the stump. So the tree, the main trunk went up, and then there was a split, and that's what we used for the workbench last week. There's the rest of the split there, the crotch. And then just one side of the tree continued on. There's a whole log here, and then this. So that was a big tree. What the heck. I think it'll be fun just to try to get it up to the top of the hill here, and you guys want to watch that, don't you? So it's just from there up this little wavy grade here. If I could even get it to right there, that's where I'd hook it up to the four-wheeler and just drag it back. It's nice in the winter because the logs just skid so much easier, but obviously traction is an issue. And I decided this year I wasn't going to put the chains on the ATV just to see if I could, I don't know, see if you could get around without them. We still have a whole pile of giant kitchen lumber, and then we have half of a really nice pine log here. I don't know, 20, 22 inch, the biggest ones. I'm thinking we'd stick two of those together, or just take the whole thing, cut it in half, and then do 2 deep. If we can't get it back here, or we can't pick it up, or whatever, we'll just use one of those. The hardest thing on the body out here is sitting on the ground, chainsaw milling with a big mill. To kneel down and do the whole thing is, I absolutely can't do it right now. It still doesn't sound warm, does it? Let's go for it. It was fun, and we got it up the hill slowly. We can get it around this corner to right here, then it can actually get up some speed and we could yoink it all the way back there. What? I could definitely get it back doing this, but it's like another 100 yards. That would take a long time. I was starting to think there was something wrong with that, but there's not. You get that, what do they call that? Static friction, where you got to get enough power to pull the log. It just pops loose for a second and the whole machine shakes. And of course, the way the sticks are set up, when it shakes, it makes you push the stick the other way and it kind of just builds up like. But we got it out there. Better bring you with me, because if we get going, we can't slow down. It's hard to shift with one hand. I'm gonna put 3 years worth of miles on the tires in one pull. That is a heavy log. Wow. It's a little bit uphill here too, which is not helping. Personal. Frickin' woof, you know what I mean? Made it. See, you didn't think it could be done. The whole time I just knew. I knew. I had the skills, I had the gumption. That was luck. I still can't decide. Excuse me, we're trying to look behind you. You are never ending. Look at those giant feet you have. Jeez. Oh my gosh. You are a lot to deal with sometimes. I guess all in all, it does make more sense to use a board that's already milled up and already seasoned. But we had fun. Didn't we have fun? I thought that was fun. Guess we'll just try to move this over to the pile. The problem with this thing is, even if you can get a grip on it, it's so heavy that unless you have everything tucked in really close to the machine, you'll just tip it over. And in the snow, when you try to turn, you know, one of the tracks is moving, it just spins. You got to kind of like bump it. Go forward, turn, forward, turn. And if you're carrying that whole thing, it's not going to turn at all. It seems to be really nice to pick up a log like that. If you can put the blade down, really sink it into the ground, that gives you more of a platform to lift from. But if we want to move it over there, we got to turn the tracks that way. Let's just see what happens. As long as you don't just lift it really fast, you're not going to tip the thing over. Hey, here comes the snow. Oh yeah, what about the cedar? How about we put together the workbench part of it and then get a feel for how much more lumber we need, and then we'll decide on the cedar or whatever we need for the shelving. You know, the only reason this weather sucks is it's almost impossible to make videos. I'm not going inside, but the camera freezes, and every time I put it in my pocket to warm it up, take it out, then all the snow melts on it. It's a problem. I got real problems. Anyway, let's look at this real quick. Lee. So I was thinking about doing some kind of a block. Basically, if you had a chunk of 2x4 or 4x4 and then shaved off the inside so it fit perfectly in there, and then 2 bolts into that, and then kind of the same thing out here, although, you know, your 4x4 could be as long as the workbench was going to be, and we could shape it to fit there. This chunk out here is going to be the support for the entire thing. Yeah, so we want it real beefy. Maybe like an 8x8 or something. Did I mention there's a chance this isn't going to work at all? That's the case with all of our projects, isn't it? Actually, for the inside of this, we could almost just find a chunk of log with that same radius or pretty close to it. And maybe a piece of firewood would work. Slightly froze firewood. But I don't want to take my hat off. Watch your nose. I forgot you didn't eat your breakfast. Come on. Look at that. You can use your dog bed like it's meant to be used. Ain't that a beautiful thing? This is my 3rd one, and it still didn't come out right. I'm kind of limited on what I can find under the snow here. And that's so frozen you can't do anything with it. Well, this is the backer, so I guess we can remake that pretty easily. Nothing else we can do. This one fits great, but some dope cut it an inch too narrow. I think there's still going to be plenty of space to get the bolts in there, though. Got this set of really cheap, what is that, 2+ foot drill bits. There's 3 of them. This is 1/2 inch, and then they go up from there. Got them at the used building store for $4. There's about once a year you need a really long, this might not end up being too excessive, but it's one of those things, if you just have a regular drill bit like that, how are you gonna do this? That's what I want to know. Yeah, we drill through that block, and then another big fat block. We might only end up with a few inches left. Is that level? I guess the bucket's not quite straight. Oh, it's bled off since I parked it. Looks like about like that. I forgot I was going to countersink those a whole bunch. That's going to be difficult now. That's the biggest, fattest drill bit I have, and I got to countersink something that size. Not sure how we're going to do that. Otherwise, I just have that big swing out swizzle bit. You know what I'm talking about. The one that I like to use so much to cut giant holes, but you can't do it once you've already drilled a hole. I really want to have my new workbench pulled up right here, but this much snow, it's just going to ruin my tools to have anything out. And the camera and the tools and the camera and the tool and the dog. Well, he's hiding underneath the man cave. Guess we're going to have to pick this up tomorrow when the snow stops. Fine, I quit. Now we're talking. This is the weather we're looking for. Something tells me he's into it as well. You into it? 15 degrees. We got a fresh, I don't know, maybe 8 inches. It's nice and calm. Got the four-wheeler warming up so we can back it up and use our workbench. You know, I didn't show you this. I don't know if you know these things exist. It's a little duster. I have to give credit to either a Project Farm or the Torque Test channel. I think it's probably Project Farm. If you don't watch both those YouTube channels, shame on you. I bought this thing for someone else's Christmas present and didn't end up using it, so you know, I could have returned it, but I tried it out a couple times. It's freaking amazing. Look how much force this puts out. I'll just hold it loosely. It's blowing snow out of the tree. This thing is great for when, like yesterday, it's snowing just lightly. It's cold enough that the snow's not sticky and you constantly got to be brushing stuff off. Just keep this in my pocket. It's not fully charged, but watch. Problem is it wants to suck up the snow too. That snow is actually a little heavier than I thought. Normally you could hold it like this far away and just blow it all off of there. It's pretty fun. I think a lot of these are kind of a scam. It's just like a little bitty fan, but this one I saw reviewed got the highest marks, and I have no idea how it can put out that much air with a fan that size. It's like a jet. I had to do a lot of digging, but if you're interested, I'll try to find it again, put a link in the description of the video. The cheap ones are cheap, and this one's a little pricey, but I'll be using it all summer too. Like when I'm milling, you cut a slab, and then I always use either my Ryobi blower or a brush. I'll just keep this in my pocket. You'll see. Stick around. Yeah, that's right. It was like 31 degrees. It's not quite as fluffy as you'd hope for. Oh yeah? I love the end of each howl. They always have character. I think one slab isn't big enough, and two slabs like this I think would be excessive, more than is necessary or needed. So maybe we do the smallest one and double it up. Hey, that's for me, not you. Thank you. I could be able to make the corner with that on there. After I turned the camera off last night, I went and cleaned up those saw blades that we looked at under the microscope last week. I soaked them for a few hours in rubbing alcohol. They came out like new. Actually, these grip-right blades looked sharper used after cutting tons of lumber than the other brands did brand new. I'm glad I didn't chuck them. The way I'd normally do something like this, I'm going to leave the curve in it, is the old chop and scooch. But since this is going to be a table, I've got to do it on something flat. I can't just throw it on the ground, and I can't really chainsaw up this high. I wonder if you could sort of do the chop and scooch with a jigsaw. The huge disadvantage is the blade is this thick. Maybe let's just hack some of this off and then see how they fit together. So we could probably cut an inch off all the way across. Something like that. Now that we know this thing cuts, we'll wait. Now that we know this thing cuts rotarily, this should be really easy. Need a toy? You know what I need is a $1 compass that holds a pencil, and I don't have one. Maybe we could make this work. Stick our pencil to the inside. Oops, oops. That's really not bad at all, is it? Maybe we'll just take the grinder and knock some nubs off. I actually think that's good enough. I thought we were gonna have to do a whole bunch of cuts. Uh-oh, I might have to badmouth Ryobi. I hate to do it. This saw that I've used for everything is just ever so... Okay, come on now. It's just ever so slightly tweaked. I don't know if it got dropped. It cuts totally fine, but if you put a, you know how you put a square on it and run this along the edge, it's just a little bit off. And it finally made me crazy enough that I got a replacement, and it doesn't work. As I push it through here, it stops. Just like you've got a cold or dead battery. Here's the old one. Grrr. I'm gonna try it one more time. Here, we'll try a different battery. Hear that thunk, thunk, thunk? Here's the old one. It doesn't make me mad, but it kind of bums me out. Guess we'll use the old one, which doesn't make any difference for a cut like this anyway. I actually said out loud, fine, I'll change the blades, because I'm still using the planer blades that were all dinged up. Took my work gloves off. You know how it goes. Never take your work gloves off. Just dragged my finger across the corner of the blade and blood shot out of it. Some people shouldn't be let outside their cabin. Wow, these are so cold they don't even stick. Still got blood patches on my jacket from last time. Jeez, maybe I cut myself more than once. Holy crap, where's this coming from? Oh, I did. More band-aids, more band-aids. Who would think planer blades would come that sharp? Like so sharp you don't even feel it. Wow. New blades are awesome. I'm scrounging around for lumber. I can't find what I'm looking for. So I went out to look under the tarp for the kitchen lumber. There's a lot more snow than I thought. It's just that everything, as always, is stuck in the trees here. They hold a lot more than you think. So I think this is our opportunity one more time to try to get this excavator stuck. Pretty sure the snow will be over the top of the tracks. The blade doesn't go up any higher. Well, I might as well use this lumber. Check it out. I just took one board and flipped it over. Look at that. The ants like burrowed in from the side, got inside there, and I mean, essentially they're inside a log. Wow, look at all that they ate out. That is crazy. Looks like this already, oh yeah, this must have had some ants living in it and they crawled out. Well, I think we'll use this one. Sans ants. Look at the bottom of it. That too. It's all whittled out there. So we've got the bucket curled like that. Some kind of a block here. The counter's going out. And then we need some like huge triangular braces underneath it to hold the whole thing. But we might as well chop up this anti stuff into those triangular braces. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? If and when I get the thumb on this thing and it's easier to pick stuff up, I'm gonna pick every single board up one by one, set it aside, put them all back with stickers. And even though everything's frozen right now and it won't soak in, I'm still gonna spray it all with, what is it? Borax. And then at any point when the weather gets warmer, it'll melt, sink right in, kill all that crap. It's actually been on my to-do list, like an actual list for half a year when I have somebody here to help me pick all these up. But, you know, I don't see Tito too much these days. And when he's here, you know, for a night or something, I don't feel like rearranging a pile of lumber. This is all garbage that can easily be replaced. All right, let's see if we can get the bucket around that whole stack. The whole way I was thinking I should stop and get a ratchet strap, just make everything stay there, but we did it. We got it back without dumping it somehow. Can't find what I need. It's all garbage. Holy crap. No wonder that mill is so heavy. I think I've used this saw once out of the mill. I want to try to make some straight cuts in that thing, and if I use a, you know, 18, 20-inch bar, it's going to be a mess. By the way, freaking great new tool that I found. Must have been back just before my back blew up. Chainsaw ratcheting scrunch. Maybe everybody knows about these, I don't know. It's got the two most common sizes. This fits everything on my mill, and that fits the nuts on the chainsaw bar. What's really nice is it's easy to switch with gloved hands. And what's really, really nice is since this saw has the full wrap handle, it's like impossible to get a normal scrunch in there, but this thing, look at that, it fits in there. Isn't that sweet? God, that thing is a beast. Wow, that is actually kind of beautiful. And all those colors mean there's wood and maybe a little rot in there, but I think it's going to be strong enough. I'm not really clear on what I'm doing right now, so I'm just going to cut this into a big square. Then we'll trim it down or figure it out later. Whoa, purple? I don't think I've ever seen purple before. Like purple, buddy? Wow, that is a beam. not quite square, but I think it's gonna work. If only I knew what we were gonna do with it. Let's flatten it out. Just since we have new blades in here, I bet this is gonna be so pretty. I'm not gonna wanna, yeah, we can always find more. That is cool. And that's not even the prettiest side, I don't think. Let me do the other side, then maybe I'll show you, maybe not. Yeah, that's a pretty one for sure. Don't you ever get attention? All right, let's see, where were we? Quite something, and it's solid. I think that'll work. How fun is that, huh? Let's see how far off we are. A little over 7, we're probably ½ inch. A little under 8. 8. I think that's going to be good enough. I'm thinking, let's see, we kind of cup that out now, and then we'll maybe recut it if we have to. I like to use a chainsaw to kind of dig this out. Clearly we don't need to carve it out the entire length of this. And actually, if we do it just right and it fits like onto the bucket, like around the sides, that'd be the best. But I didn't fix that small chainsaw yet. And that's the best one for doing this. We could use the grinder. That thing scares the crap out of me, but we'll be safe. From what little I can see, looks like it fit decently. Dude, every time I bend over, I get harassed by you. Is this how you're supposed to make a workbench? Wow, these are not even anywhere close to straight. Oh well. I think we need to rethink this. I really want way more threads to grab. I'm thinking we just get rid of this chunk on the inside. Maybe we just put a 2x4 in there. It'd be nice just to put a washer on it all the way in there and let the bolt go out the full 8 inches. But since it's concave in there, I think it's just going to bend the washer. Problem is, we end up having to cut like 4 inches out of this thing. Or if I had a massive drill bit, countersinking in this side like 4 inches. But we can always cut into it later. We just can't uncut it later very easily. That's way less fun, but we don't have to cut as deep in here now. I keep testing the two saws side by side and Somebody might have forgot that one was set differently, but just for one cut. He sure likes covers, man, I tell you what. This whole thing would be an awful lot easier to build and put together if I had the hydraulic thumb on here. I know you're gonna murder me if I say hydraulic thumb one more time, but it just crossed my mind when you have the tabletop on here, it's gonna be a pain to get these bolts in. But if I can modify this later on, where you just take the bucket and hydraulic thumb, you grab the thing, and then you just carry the whole shebang, the whole workbench around just by gripping, that would be dope. But we don't have that option right now, so we're gonna make this work. I always enjoy the thinking part of making this stuff, and when it doesn't work out or something changes, you get to rethink it over again. Whew, I think we got it. Gotta give it the old ringworm test. Yep. I could actually tip the whole thing over. It's funny, in my one single day of looking at these machines, I saw all the add-ons you can get, and I wasn't gonna pay for any of them. I got the cheapest machine I could find, but it's not really until you start using it that you see, oh, like that's why you might want that thing. Clearly, like the other thumb on here, you can spend another, I don't know what it was, $1,000 or something to get this that hinges. And then the one I remember is the tracks that expand out. And this actually has the switches for it. I assume that's what this is. Lock and unlock, and then adjustable chassis. I think you just flip that and the tracks like expand out. Not a lot, but maybe another track width or so. And the boom's only like halfway out, maybe a little more. And then you put a couple 100 pounds on it. Yeah. You could tip the machine right over. It's not heavy equipment. It is a hydraulic shovel. All right, I think we got all the hard work done. The rest is just going to be easy and fun. See if we can get any usable pieces out of this ant-eaten stuff. If it was a little more ant-eaten, I'd probably save it, clean it up, and fill it with resin and make something cool out of it. Watch your toes. This is about the only good piece out of that whole board. Even it's got some character. See, that completely erases 1 to 2 years of your lumber being stacked in a wet, mushy pile. Surprise, I don't have anything that matches. I've got a schmear of different styles, 3 for each side. They're kind of similar. Otherwise, we just have to put in about 11,000 normal screws. Let's make sure we hit only good spots. One. Oh, hi, buddy. We heard you come sliding in. Where are you back from? There. Just put these screws in here to get it all leveled. This side was actually a little bit soft, so we're going to leave those in there. You could crush those right through and out the other side, I think. I hate having 2 different fastener ends on one project. Wow, yeah, that went in pretty easy. I think that's going to be strong enough for what I'm going to use it for, but I think we still have to pin these things together. There's just a titch bit of warpage in there, and I guess it's probably going to get worse. There's a little bit here too. We are going to get a usable chunk out of this. So we got to miss those 2 knots. Man, that's a big hole. This thing comes with all these different tips. I just put this on here because it kind of pinches down the most. Thought you'd get the most air speed out of it, but the thing fell off in my pocket. And check this out. It's way faster without it. So this is with it on. Take it off. That moves a lot of air. I'm a little afraid it's going to get all full of crap in my pocket though if I don't have this on there. I'm going to save that piece. We can make something cool out of that. Hold on, let me clean it out for you. We'll keep it. We'll hold on to it. We'll put it, if nothing else, we'll put it on my upcoming shelf of oddities that I'm going to build in the cabin. Oh, got a little ant house in there. That's all right. Can't help myself. Ooh, that's gonna split. I'm being harassed all day. I gotta reach down to get my pencil or put in a screw every time I bend over. It's too much. You go over there, I'll go over here. I gotta just pick something up right here. What about this thing over here? I'm gonna come get this here. Everybody needs their oxytocin, right? Even dogs. That's if you've got a bunch of treats on your work surface and you don't want your monster to get to them. It's actually probably a good use for having it up that high. I don't know what it is, but there's something. Just got to remember to not leave all my tools on that and have it parked way up in the sky, because it does bleed off after a while and the monster would get my treats. You again. That's just good, clean fun driving around a workbench. Giving some more thought to these shelves, I was thinking we hook it onto the sides and then come up, and then it wouldn't be sitting right on here. But then you can't hang a big fat board out off the end. Also, I need to try unbolting and rebolting this a few times and see if it's even doable like this. If it's not, I'll figure out how to do it, you know, pinching it with the thumb or even just curling the bucket into it. Problem is it's getting dark right now and it's supposed to be 2 below tonight and I think a high of 5 tomorrow, so no tools. And then Sarah's going to be here, so I won't be working on this for quite a while. I think we're going to leave it like it is. And this guy hasn't had his exercise today or yesterday, so before it gets dark I got to take him on a rip around the property, get him in at least a mile or 2 of running. Well, this might be one of those ongoing projects. It might be 5 installments over the next 3 years, who knows. It's just so many freaking fun options when you have a machine like that. All right, well, I'm sure you're going to see plenty of this thing in the future. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching. Kuiper can't wait to see you next Saturday. Peace.